It was actually way cooler than I expected it to be.
Wow, this is very intuitive.
That was cool. Oh, I did it!
Unbelievable.
That was really fun, and that was a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Welcome to Upward with Transfr, where we tackle our evolving workforce and how educators, governments, and industries are changing to keep up. We're dedicated to building effective pathways for workers and job seekers to get the skills they need to get into well-paying careers in high-growth industries. Our part in that is designing and distributing hands-on simulations that learners can use to explore new career options and develop core skills before entering an in-person vocational training program. Transfr simulations augment human educators, broadening their range of classroom possibilities without expensive facilities build-outs or specialized equipment. I'm Jack Sislak, editorial director at Transfr, and your host. For this episode about non-traditional career paths, I'm joined by Ryan McLaughlin, creative producer at Transfr, for a fun journey through non-traditional pathways in the worlds of music, tech, and beyond. Here at Transfr, we're all about helping people from all sorts of different backgrounds discover their own pathways from wherever they are into a well-paying job in a high-growth industry. And we know that the right candidates for any and all of these jobs will come from a variety of diverse and interesting backgrounds. Not all of them are going to go to high school and then on to college and then into a career. We're sitting down with one half of the dynamic podcasting team here at Upward, creative producer and audio producer, Ryan McLaughlin. Ryan, please introduce yourself and tell our audience a bit about who you are and what you do here at Transfr.
Hey, it's weird to be on the other side of the mic here. Yeah, I'm Ryan. I'm a creative producer at Transfr. I do a bit of everything. I do a lot of our audio work, especially from the content creation side, but then also a lot of the video stuff from the content creation side. I help out with events. I help out just to make sure that, the creative team is contributing meaningfully. And I'm a small part of the team that does that.
Awesome. Yeah, it is great. If you've listened to any of our other podcasts, could not do it without Ryan. From conception to execution to production to posting, he's making that all possible. And it is great for me too, as the host. It's great to have you get out from behind the boards and to just be chatting with you. Let's get right into the questions. Yeah, this is really fun for me. Let's jump in first with, how do you personally define a non-traditional career pathway?
That's such a big question. I think, the most common definition of that is somebody who didn't go to college, right? I think what it really just comes down to is just, anything that provides applicable experience through non-traditional means. So that could be going to college and pivoting into, a different career than what you studied, or it could be going to college and dropping out and then whatever. Or, you fell into something.
Right.
It's just like something you didn't know that you had this natural gift for, and,
sure.
and it really just kind of changes the pace and the current for you,
Yeah, absolutely. And you were talking about going to college or pivoting and those things. I changed majors 3-4 times in my span, and not to mention picking up jobs, waiting tables, just doing everything. Like, people can find all sorts of different opportunities and then build a career off of that versus, yes, the straight A to B thinking that we get so stuck in this society sometimes.
It's so common. The majority of the people that I speak to who do have college experience either aren't working in the field that they studied,
yeah, that too,
or they changed majors once they had a better grip of what they were doing or what they wanted to do. A lot of people realize late in life what they want to do and what they're good at. So it's just a matter of, listening to your intuition and taking that first step, right?
The more we have these conversations, and we just got done recording another episode, we've had other conversations around that. Everybody at the office is really excited about this series of episodes. So this is awesome that you're one of the first ones we're recording and we're getting to actually chop it up on the pod. But the more we learn about how people are coming in, even getting professional jobs or ending up wherever from a non-traditional pathway, it just proves that this is a conversation we need to be having more and more in this moment.
Yeah, I think it's long overdue. It's such an important conversation because there's such a large population of people with so much to offer.
Yeah.
It's a whole just demographic of people that have been overlooked, for well-paying jobs for my entire adult life.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, 100%. Well, let's talk a little bit more about your adult life. Tell us a bit more. You're on an episode about non-traditional career pathways. I'm sure the audience is dying to know about your personal non-traditional pathway. So please take us through that in however much detail you want to share.
Well, I guess the most non-traditional aspect is the fact that I didn't go to college. Like I specifically didn't go to college. That was a choice that I made. I dropped out of high school twice, and then I ended up going back and graduating, but I had to go back an extra year. I had a really unique high school experience that I felt very disconnected pretty much the whole time. But I had this really special guidance counselor, Kathleen Parrish. She was such a inspiration.
That's awesome.
Especially at a time that I needed it the most. And I'm still in touch with her, actually.
That's cool. I think I remember this from another, but I don't want to spoil it for people.
No, you're good. But I'm still in touch with her. She's so cool. She's wonderful. But I remember when I actually went in to unenroll myself from my high school, you had to go to your guidance counselor to do it. And it's all happenstance. Like she only had me because my last name fell under her alphabet jurisdiction, but I went to unenroll myself and she was just like, I'm not gonna unenroll you.
No.
I was just like, what?
I believe in you too much.
I mean, kinda.
I love it. It's so awesome.
She told me no and was like, you can either go to class right now or come back tomorrow. And I was just like, I'll come back tomorrow. And I walked out and I was like, what the hell just happened? But I went back the next day and I graduated, it was largely due to her hard-headedness. And after I graduated, I discovered music at a young age. I started playing music and that was pretty much all that mattered for a long time. Even to this day, it's such a large part of my life, to the point to where, I played in bands since I was 12 years old and all through high school. I graduated high school and I jumped in a van and toured the country for most of my 20s with multiple bands and, played bass, played guitar, I sang, I did, a lot. And that was really kind of what started learning the skills that I put into this role. And I wrote this piece during a recent job search and it's called I Didn't Go to College, I Went on Tour. And that was like the first time that I actually kind of packaged the applicable skills that I had learned from my experience there and in a way that proved its value in a modern workplace. And I got some good traction on LinkedIn for it, and that was really helpful during my search, but it really just kind of broke it down. It was just, when people think about playing in bands, a lot of the time it's just like, oh, this is just, you play in a band,
right. Sleeping on a lot of floors, whatever.
But there's so much more that goes into it, especially an independent band where you write the music, right? And then you record the music. That takes coordination, finding a studio, finding the right engineer and producer.
A lot of moving parts.
Then you have a finished product, which is the album, ideally.
Right.
There are so many creative elements. There's art. There's there's marketing. There's all sorts of things where it's like it's project management. It's networking. It's like large scale coordination that makes it possible. And on top of that, aside from touring, aside from all that, I've played thousands of shows. I put on thousands of shows. And that is production in and of itself.
Right.
And so all of these things, that just really play into what I do now with Transfr. But on top of that, because I've been an artist my whole life, I've been in hospitality my whole life also. So that's like the one, area of work that is always available, or mostally always available. I guess that's kind of changed with pandemic things, but I bartended, I served tables. I was a chef for a while. And then, when I was in DC, I ran a food truck for like 7 years. I ended up with a fleet of them. And I mean, that really taught me the soft skills that I need in order to just navigate any high stress situation
100%.
With, chaos on my side. You know what I mean? Like nobody sees the chaos, but it's there.
Disney effect, It's this big smile out in front, but then behind the scenes, like, we're gonna fix this, okay?
Yeah, exactly. There's so much behind the scenes stuff. So it all really just kind of applies, and
totally.
And with Transfr, all of these skills really go into it because I help out with events. That comes from putting on and playing shows and booking tours and all the coordination that goes on with that. I'm an audio producer, and that comes from writing and recording so much of my own music and art, and video stuff is from recording music videos, and then all of the chaos that comes with working at a startup. But also, the chaos that comes from having multiple projects happening at the same time.
Totally. Yeah.
That comes from, the hospitality aspect of things. And
absolutely.
It all applies. It's like seeing how these skills really come into play every day. I'm grateful for the experience, but also it's just like, wow, good thing.
Yeah, well, and I just thought it was such a clever move. I'm an actual writer, and I thought it was such a clever move to write it up, because that's always more than just a resume. Your non-traditional background, for most people, is a story. And you hear those stories of people like handing out their resumes in busy bus terminals or train stations or whatever, just trying to get some eyeballs on it and just trying to show the people that they're a go-getter. But when you have this story, when you've written it like, hey, I know you don't have time to sit down with me right now. All good. Here's the link. Just read it. Just read what I'm about. If you like it, let's talk. Otherwise, hey, have a great day.
It's funny that you brought up handing out your resume at busy areas. It's like handing out flyers for a show. You know what I mean? So,
hard, thankless work for sure.
I've spent a lot of time doing that as well. But I got laid off from a marketing position that I had with another company early pandemic. And that was, that was rough, you know, and it's not a unique story. There were so many people, you know, who went through hard times during early pandemic times, and still to this day even. And I'm sensitive to that, not only because I had my own, but also because it's just a horrible situation.
We're just living in it day after day.
Yeah, but you know, I got laid off. It was tough, but it really kind of reshaped how I go about talking about my experience. It's hard to value your own experience, especially when you grew up in a time that just devalues any experience that isn't, you went to college, you have a degree, you do this. Like, so I internalized a lot of that for a while, and it was hard
100%.
to see the value in my pathway. You know what I mean? But I'm grateful for it in the long run, because it not only led me here with Transfr, but it also allowed me to kind of reframe the way that I look about it and change my perspective. And with writing out that piece, I was able to kind of market myself, you know, and I really leaned into this concept of the unconventional candidate. You know what I mean?
100%. You got to own that title and,
you gotta own
make it part of your, here's how I'm pitching myself to you.
Right.
And I really hope that these conversations, yours and other ones we're having here, you know, if we're just more people, anybody who's listening out there, if you have a non-traditional background, like, hey, we see you, we're trying to like get the conversation going about why we should be hiring people from all different backgrounds for all different types of jobs, and break out of these dominant paradigms that are really not helping anymore, you know. And they honestly probably never did. So let's lean into that and talk a little more. Why are these pathways becoming more important than ever in our changing world/economy?
Perspective. That's really what it comes down to. I think that, you know, there was so much emphasis put on getting like people in the same room to, you know, especially in tech. I feel like it's such a large part of tech where it's like, if you don't, and in my experience as well, applying to tech jobs and applying to all these other, you know, larger companies, I can't tell you how many times I heard back where it's just like, yeah, you seem great, but you don't have a college degree. And it's just kind of like
big miss. Big miss.
Thank you. It was really like, that's kind of, I did feel that way, you know, because when I got to a point to where I was able to really see the value in what I had to offer, it was easier to take those blows with a grain of salt. Right? Those opinions mattered less. I think also it kind of the erosion that happens when you're just getting pummeled by these waves of judgment, right? It becomes less of a surface area for the waves to erode, and so it became easier to deal with. But I think what the most important part of it is just perspective, you know, because it takes so many different types of people to make something truly great, you know.
Dude, well put. Absolutely.
And I think that that's really the most important part that so many companies have missed out on, just by not having these perspectives from other types of people. It really just opens up the playing field for great ideas to come out of anywhere. And if you get hired at a company like Transfr, you know, like that automatically means people in your company listen to you because you made it. Right? Yeah. You made it there. You obviously have something to offer. And so I think what is being gained is just different perspective and valuable perspective.
100%. And I can totally see, you know, hopefully we haven't run into this or it won't, but like, you know, having an event, something high pressure, something's going on, and you know something goes wrong because it always does. And
always does.
You are like, oh, hey, this happened. We were on the road one time. We spliced these two things together. Now it worked. And
that's exactly. I mean, education doesn't equal experience.
Exactly. Right? Absolutely.
And so I'm grateful for my experience because it allows me to kind of act on my toes. And, you know, and it's really not a matter of knowing what to do. It's a matter of being willing to do something.
Just get in there,
You know, you gotta trust yourself. You gotta like, and that's where I've gotten to be where it's, I get put into this position where it's not comfortable. You know what I mean? It's almost never comfortable, but there's always something to be done. As long as you're like, try equals do. You know what I mean? Like if you don't try to do anything, then nothing's going to get done. But if you do try, then it's 100% more likely that something will come of it. So it's just, it's a matter of perspective. And not to knock, college education. I think everybody has to choose what is right for them. And I think graduating with a degree is amazing. Yeah. It shows that you can commit to a large scale project and complete it. And I understand why that's valuable. Right. To look at somebody's resume and be like, they did that. No matter what they studied. Yes. That's valuable. And I have a lot of respect for that. But but that's not the only thing to look at. Like there's, again, education doesn't equal experience. And that's really what it comes down to.
Right. Well, and I think too, like we're just finding out more and more through these conversations that people are, missing out on possible important perspectives from other people just because, like you said, they don't have that degree. Yeah. And I want to pivot back a little bit more to your background a little bit, and we can talk about sort of anywhere you're seeing this, but what trends are you seeing in business, in the music world, and just wherever around embracing candidates with non-traditional backgrounds?
Well, music is full of people with non-traditional pathways.
This is your layout.
I feel like great art is made from people who don't have, not exclusively, obviously, but it is often made by people who got to where they are through
unconventional means.
Exactly. But as far as like trends, Transfr specifically, they hired me, and
proof positive, folks. You heard it here first.
I mean, dude, this is like a dream job for me. It's I get to do all of the things.
It's pretty great. Yeah,
it's pretty great. I get to do everything that I love with people that I really care about on a team that I feel. I think a big part of it is I never really felt like I fit in very many places growing up. And so, you learn how to kind of fake it, but then you also kind of like always know when you're faking it. So
you yearn not to. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Feel you 100%.
And this is like one of the first places where, I really feel like these are my people. This is a place that I can belong. And the creative team, it's a bunch of weirdos. Like, I love it. Like it's exactly where I want to be. But also with Transfr, like the whole mission of Transfr is to help people get into situations that they might not otherwise be exposed to 100%. Or have access to. Yeah. And, I was a teacher for a long time also. I taught music for a long time. So the educational aspect, it really, it resonates with me. And I love and truly believe in the mission of Transfr. I think that it's great. Every company likes to think they're noble, but Transfr really is. And
we're doing it.
What's great about it is, they walk the walk, like
100%. And I think we're picking up more from you and I. It was so cool. We did a little survey around the office and just kind of got feedback from people like, hey, what are your non-traditional backgrounds? And we got all these stories of people going to other countries, doing different jobs, going back to school way later in life, and just chasing opportunities, challenges, it's super valid just to want to do a cool thing for a year, or it turns into 10 years or 6 months, whatever it turns out to be. But like, somebody explain this gap on your resume. It's like, well, I was climbing this mountain or living in the woods or, working in this country or doing something. Like, to my point before about how clever I thought that Medium piece was, is just that, like, that should be a positive. That should be part of your overall story that you tell in a rich tapestry of who and what you are and what you can bring to the table. Not like, how am I going to explain this decision later? It's like, no, that decision was great and you're better for it.
How am I going to qualify myself for you? Yeah.
Right.
And that was like the best part about that piece wasn't because it was for other people, it was for me.
Dude, so cool.
It was, like being able to put into words my value, in a way that I felt was authentic and representative of who I am and my experience. It went miles for me. And so just cool. Personally, internally, I was able to internalize that rather than all of the other, feel bad about not going to college internalization that I had for a while. And but yeah, honestly, that's a big part of what led me here. And at my experience, yes, but also just because I've been able to internalize that, see the value, and then portray that. That's become part of my authentic self. You know what I mean? And that's such a important part of anything for me, is feeling comfort in your own vulnerability and authenticity. Like, it's such a huge part of being able to do good work. And I feel that here. So it's just like,
Very cool.
yeah, it's great.
Cool. So yeah, we dove in on Transfr somewhat there, and then let's talk a little bit more about what our clients and partners, anybody's doing in terms of also putting a spotlight on how important it is to get people from non-traditional backgrounds into anywhere we can get them, any kind of job that's going to get them autonomy and keep the world going a little longer.
I mean, that just goes back to perspective, and unique experience that kind of plays into getting better work done in a better way. Having diversity. And diversity means so many things,
yes,
but
100%.
Having diversity in the office, as you said, in the room,
Right.
having different types of people in the room means that the work gets done with, it's better informed. We're a client-facing company, obviously.
Yeah.
And so having the work that we do better informed means we have a better product, which means that our clients are going to be much happier with what they get, because it's more likely that somebody is going to feel like, oh, this applies to me.
Yeah.
Trends, I don't know. I can't really speak to that. That's not really my lane. But what I can see is the result of being a part of a diverse team and many different experiences coming into one better, more informed, and more accessible product.
Awesome. And let's end on a kind of a big picture note here. So let's talk a little bit about your version of the Transfr vision of a world where there are more people with non-traditional backgrounds in more roles just out there in the world contributing.
I mean, that'll
Here.
be a better future. I love that for the future. I love that there's already movement in the tech world and other traditional environments, right?
Degree-dominated environments, et cetera.
Yes, exactly. I think that, because there's already movement in that direction happening, we've already seen some lives changed. And, seeing what Transfr does and the opportunities that Transfr provides is just the start of it. And I think that is being noticed, and that is informing the way that people are looking at what a non-traditional background can bring to the table. I think that will just make so many lives better, because it's going to make whatever product better, because there's going to be more information behind it. There's going to be more experience behind it. But also, it's going to make the people who haven't really had these opportunities before be put in a position to where they can blow minds.
Exactly. I was going to say contribute in a meaningful way, but I like blow minds better. Yes,
and contribute in a meaningful way is also good. There's so many people who want to care about it.
Yes.
They want to care about what they do. And they want to contribute.
They want a chance.
They want a chance, and I can relate to that. And
who can't?
The pandemic changed a lot of things too.
Sure thing.
It really just kind of changed how people value their time,
absolutely,
and their energy. And I think that has shifted the work culture in a meaningful way, to where they are putting more emphasis on, or rather they're putting more value and more thought into where they're putting their energy, where they're spending their time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I think that is one of the best possible things that can happen.
Cool. Well, we hope that, this is just a start. If you're listening to this, we hope this is the start of a bigger conversation in your workplaces, in your world, in your life. Again, if you have a non-traditional pathway in your life, we see you, and we're out here having these conversations, hopefully changing minds, and, hopefully we end up with a different world after all this. But Ryan, again, we've been talking about this ever since we came up with this series. It's like, we gotta get Ryan, we gotta get him on the mic. So, dude, thank you so much for jumping on the mic.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. And thanks all of you for listening. There is no show without you. There's no show without Ryan, but there's no show without you. So thank you so much for listening. And everybody out there, come back soon for another one of these great Non-Traditional Pathways episodes on Upward. And have a great day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.